What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moneyline Media. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Hope you guys are recovering. Hope your pockets are not too hurt from the March Madness that we endured over the weekend, over the past few days. My Lord, I can tell you this, though. This is the most exciting March Madness I've ever been a part of. It was upsets everywhere. Incredible games. At the very least, listen, if you don't enjoy this, you're not a true fan.
Yeah, so
I may have been losing bets left and right, but I had a great time losing this time. It was a fun March Madness.
So this is the highest average of seeds on a Sweet 16 that there's ever been. I think the average seed is like 5.33, which is incredible when you look at it. Also, just gotta say, everyone, not just us, everyone overestimated the Big Ten completely.
Yeah. And listen, Michigan kind of escaped last night.
You just also are a Michigan hater.
No, so but they kind of just barely escaped. I know they won by, I think it was 8 points, but LSU had them on the ropes, but LSU don't have a knockout punch.
Their point guard makes me a little nervous, Michigan Smith, the guy from Columbia.
This is my point.
He's a little short. He a lot of heart, but just a little too short. His shots were getting blocked. What?
When do I hate Michigan?
You've been against them this whole time.
That's not true. I said Michigan was the best defensive team in the country last year.
Okay. I'm saying our bracket selection and via everything, you've not been a fan of them.
Yeah, I don't trust them. Not because I hate them, I just don't trust them.
But I mean, the Big Ten is someone that we thought were going to dominate. I think that we thought there would be probably at least 4 of them in the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not.
Tell me real quick where I had Ohio State getting eliminated, by the way.
You had them losing to Florida, so you didn't have them going far.
Okay, because I've been saying the whole year that Ohio State was frauds.
Yeah, Ohio State was one that you called. It's another one that you called. I thought there was another one you called. USC. Wait, Colorado lost yesterday, right?
We did.
All right. Sorry,
you didn't see that one coming, by the way. And the difference in that game was McKinley. Big time. He was the difference.
I told you Florida State's a big team. They're gonna be up there. That's something that I think we take for granted because of the 3-pointers that we get in the in the NBA. Mm-hmm. We think that means a big team, because a big team in the NBA doesn't really help you anymore.
Yeah.
But the NCAA is a completely different division league. And I'm not saying that the 3-pointers aren't important in the NCAA, because they are. But it's not.
Oregon yesterday, I mean.
Oregon's tough, man.
They shot Iowa out of the building.
Again, Pac-12, which since football season, we've been saying, are they really a Power 5 conference anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I've been probably a proponent that they are not. But the only team that you saw and experts saw going anywhere is the only team that's currently out in the Pac-12.
Who's that?
In Colorado.
Oh, yes.
Oregon State.
I couldn't say Oregon because I like Oregon. So it's like I couldn't go for them.
Okay, but that's never prevented. I think that you're.
That's not.
I think that you're trying to make excuses on your bracket because you are a guy who's watched all year. And for those who haven't watched the show and this is their first episode, James is a very big NCAA guy from the start of the season. While most of us start in March, like myself, James watches pretty much every game, knows the spreads, and is an expert on it. But that was also part of our bracket challenge, was we were saying, it's more than just this. Though you did have a lot of faith in North Texas, but you didn't go with your heart on that.
Don't get me started.
But yeah, I mean, there's tons of teams. There's tons of teams that I know that you've watched, and I've watched Texas, and I thought they were a really good team. You had Texas going to your finals. Listen, I thought Iowa was a really good team.
To me, that was the biggest upset.
What?
Abilene Christian.
Oh, beating Texas?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that as fans, and I think even you as a gambler can say, nothing is better than seeing like an Oral Roberts go towards. Going to the Sweet 16, and again, Loyola Chicago is always fun. They really do. They really are fun.
Will they play this week, Gonzaga?
No, they are different one. They are playing. They will be playing Oregon State.
Ooh.
So that game is on at 2:40 on Saturday.
Who thought that in the Sweet 16 we'd be seeing Loyola Chicago playing Oregon State?
By the way, the guy from Loyola Chicago, was it Michael Porter? Am I getting it right? Definitely getting hired somewhere.
Yeah.
Definitely getting hired somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know who lost their coaches this year. Like I said, I'm not the best. Any team really
lost? Minnesota would be a good job.
That would be a good job.
They fired what's his name, son? Richard Pitino. They fired him last week.
Oh, they just did?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna go work for Dad in Iona now? Sure. Probably. Yeah, so these are the games. These are the Saturday games. It's Loyola Chicago versus Oregon State. That's a bit, 12 versus 8 seed. And then of course we got kind of a matchup that isn't so crazy. At 5:15 we have Baylor versus Villanova.
Okay.
By the way, Baylor, best team. That I think they are the team to beat. And that's
all green this year.
And that's the team that you had.
Yep.
Go winning. So good pick. I mean, they're a great team. They're a big team. It's not even close with the teams that they've played. And Wisconsin wasn't a bad team.
Right. And they are the best defensive team in the country.
That's what I'm saying. Big bodies, right? Mm-hmm. Huge bodies. And what happens? Huge bodies in the NCAA equals wins.
And they shoot the tray.
Exactly. All right. Then we got Oral Roberts versus Arkansas. Arkansas is minus 11-point favorites. We'll get into our picks later. I think we just need to recap the crazy weekend that happened.
Set up the schedule. I need to talk about Oral Roberts, though.
I know you do. I have Arkansas on my Sweet 16, so I will be rooting for Arkansas, but I mean, I wouldn't be upset to see Oral Roberts.
We're in the Sweet 16. What do you mean?
I mean, I have them in my Final Four. Sorry. Okay. Brain slip. I have them in my Final Four. And then Syracuse versus Houston. Houston is 6-point favorites in that. That game's at 9:55. That's a late game. That is a late game. Exciting. Yes. So the first two games are on CBS. The last two games are on TBS.
Ah.
And then Sunday's game, we start off at 2:10 with Gonzaga versus Creighton. My mom, we do a bracket every year in my house. Like everyone goes against each other. I'm
$5,000 pool.
What? No $5 pool. Just bragging. Bragging rights in the Lavelle family is very important. But my mom actually has. I laughed at her, but she has Creighton going to the championship. My mom is like a super Catholic, like Irish Catholic woman, and every year she picks the Catholic schools, like every year.
Why wouldn't she go with Loyola Chicago? They literally have.
Well, she had them going to her Sweet 16. So she had them beaten. She was the only one of us that had her beaten Illinois. So maybe she knows something that we don't know.
That's incredible.
But yeah. So I actually wouldn't mind. I would like to see Creighton win too. I don't think they do, but I would like to see Creighton win.
I think they have too much to overcome.
Yeah, but like I told you, I think I told you this. They lost at the right moment. Like all these teams that we're seeing. Lost at the right moment, besides Gonzaga. But Gonzaga doesn't play the schedule.
Oral Roberts hasn't lost the game in like a month and a half.
Well, that's different.
They had to win out.
It's different. I mean, these other teams lost to good team, like good.
Gonzaga hasn't lost a game all year.
Yeah, that makes me nervous though. The last team that didn't lose a game all year, and by the way, much better than Gonzaga. That Kentucky team, that Kentucky 2015 team with Karl Anthony Towns. Devin Booker? Yes.
Was he?
I think so. Devin Booker.
Might have been his last year there.
Yeah. Oh, no. He was definitely they were all freshmen and they all left.
His first and last.
Yeah, exactly. All left.
By
Yeah,
the way,
'cause
we're seeing that more than ever this year. And I think that this could have been easily predicted because you have a team that's been together for 4 years.
that's
They can get through stuff like COVID.
oh
These
yeah.
other guys that weren't together the whole time are
Oh,
just
yeah.
finding out who they are. Ohio State's a prime example.
Ohio State is a prime example.
You know,
Illinois,
Oral Roberts is all senior.
but even putting that aside, like teams that didn't make it, like Kentucky and Duke. I mean, the two probably most known now one and done programs. So
Very true. Very true.
But yeah, so Creighton versus Gonzaga. I know a lot of people have Gonzaga winning, so a lot of people had Illinois winning. So it's always good to see a bracket buster. You know,
there was a few.
There was a few.
Iowa was not a big one. They had over 9%.
Yeah,
over 9% of the Final Four.
Yeah.
Iowa was big. Ohio State was major. Illinois was huge.
Illinois was huge. There was another team. I think a lot of people liked LSU too. I
I was one of the people.
Oklahoma State too. A lot of people liked Oklahoma State.
Tennessee got some traction as a 5.
Tennessee, yeah, I had Tennessee going to my Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon State just bam. Then we have Michigan and Florida State minus. Doesn't that seem like it would be like a football playoff game?
It does,
right?
It really does. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about the games later,
but right, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think they need to get Juwan Howard just playing. Can coaches play? Because if coaches can,
we were talking. Somebody was talking about that the other day on the radio. They were saying that every team in college should get a one alumni spot, and like an alumni from that school could play in the game.
I mean, listen, Michigan's got a bunch of guys that could take that role, but Juwan Howard is just so intimidating. Like when I heard that the Maryland coach was trying to fight him, they were getting. I'm like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Juwan Howard is universally by most not feared but respected. Yeah. Like he was. People forget that he was on that Miami Heat team, but he brought a leadership that none of them had.
I'll tell you what, this is where I'll give credit to Juwan Howard, and I'll give credit to Patrick Ewing, too. It's very hard for a great player to become a coach. Because
especially at your former school.
Right, and it's a lot of work. Like, these guys are out there recruiting.
Yeah.
So, you gotta tip your hat to.
I mean, you gotta look at Jerry Stackhouse is having trouble. I mean, Penny Hardaway's having trouble. Penny Hardaway got into a lot of trouble. Let's not forget.
Look at Chris Mullen came back to St. John's and
didn't last long. Was there for a cup of coffee.
Exactly, but so you got to give credit to guys like Howard and Ewing who are actually out there.
Howard, yes, Ewing got a nice Cinderella run, and that's what happened.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about from a recruiting standpoint.
Right, but I think you're talking about a recruiting standpoint. There's a difference between recruiting and being a good recruiter.
Well. And Juwan Howard's not a good recruiter.
Oh, I think he is. He's
the coach of Michigan.
And Smith, by the way, the guy Smith, who he got from Columbia, he was a highly touted grad transfer. He's a very good leader on that team. Mm-hmm. I talked about how he makes me nervous because of his height, but he's a very good leader on that team.
Deirdre, if I came to you today and I said, "Hey, Deirdre, I want to offer you a full scholarship, but I'm going to give you two options. You want to go to Georgetown? Or you want to go to Michigan?" What do you take?
Probably Georgetown so that my family can see me play. What?
Would you rather play for Michigan or Georgetown? Play for. I don't care what the location of the school.
Play for. I don't know. To me, they're not. They're similar levels. I know that that's crazy, but they're on similar levels. All right.
Moving on.
All right, moving on. We got UCLA, number 11 seed versus number 2 seed Alabama. UCLA is tearing it up.
I hate UCLA.
Why do you hate them?
They're pathetic.
Why are they pathetic?
They seem like the biggest Cinderella team of all to me.
I have a question. Do you feel like they've kind of gotten lucky with the cards that they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that when they face Alabama, this is going to be a bloodbath.
I think that you need to be careful about predicting things because you predicted something on our TikTok, and I just
didn't predict that.
You did, James.
That's not a prediction.
James saying that you feel
imagine.
James saying that you feel okay. So for those context, let me give some context for listeners who have never listened before or don't really know who we are. James posted something on our TikTok that he was watching the Michigan versus LSU game, and it was early in the first. I think it was like 12-8. Yep. And James said, anyone else have a feeling that LSU
– You didn't tell me.
that Michigan – I did, but I had Michigan winning, so I was happy. But LSU –
I had no skin in that game.
Okay, but I'm just saying you predicted it. That's a prediction when you say, I feel – like this is going to happen.
I said, does anybody else feel like it?
Yeah, because you do. But that's what you said. That you literally said you do. You can't deny it, man.
Every other Big Ten team got beat. Why would I not feel that?
Okay, but that's a prediction. You're telling me it's not a prediction.
I'm saying it's a track record.
No.
We follow the numbers.
Nope.
I don't predict anything, dude.
Okay. Obviously you do. You tried to predict that, and it didn't work out. I do think also that UCLA has had a lucky way through the NCAA tournament. They played a BYU team that was okay, but not as good as people thought.
And then they got a hold of Abilene Christian.
Then they got Abilene Christian, who a lot of people were rooting for. I was Cinderella, right? And now they're playing Alabama, a team that struggled a little bit against Maryland. They did not have an easy road.
I agree. Do you feel bad for Florida at all?
Oh, why am I saying they struggled? 96-77. But they did in the beginning. It was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we feel bad for Florida at all? That because they were like, oh wow, we get to play Oral Roberts in the second round.
No, I don't feel bad at all because. Is it possible that they downplayed Oral Roberts, going into it? Probably. But that's what I mean. You're crazy. I think you're crazy not. You're happy that you're not playing Ohio State because you've heard all year how great the Big Ten is. You've heard all year how great the Big Ten is, and the Big Ten.
Big Ten, Michigan.
Just Michigan.
Wow.
What they have 10 teams in? I think. Wait, hold on. Let me count.
Maryland.
They had Maryland,
Illinois,
Michigan. Hold on, I'm doing it this way. Iowa. So I had 3, right?
Yep.
This Maryland. Technically, they had Michigan State, so that's 2.
Georgetown.
What?
Georgetown. I'm sorry, not Georgetown.
Michigan. That's 3. Then they have Iowa. That's 4. Nothing left on this side. They have Wisconsin 5. Mm-hmm. Purdue 6.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State 7. Illinois 8.
Yep, that's what I got. I got 8.
Rutgers 9.
Oh yeah, Rutgers.
So 9.
9.
I feel like I'm missing a team though.
And now there's 1 left.
Now there's 1 left. They had the most out of any conference.
Well, I'll give you this. Congratulations, Michigan. You actually are
the Big Ten champs, technically. Technically, that is technically it. You're right.
Who won the Big Ten championship?
Illinois won the Big Ten championship, and I told you because you have them. You didn't have them winning the. You did not have them winning their bracket, like their side. You didn't have them in the Final Four, but you're like they're the best. You were talking. I said it's problem is when you go on a win streak, it's a lot easier to lose the next game.
Mm-hmm.
But other teams,
you gotta remember, this is college basketball. You go on a losing streak, you're not getting in the tournament.
No, I'm not saying getting on a losing streak, but I think losing 1 before the tournament is helpful.
Well, if Oral Roberts would have lost 1,
but that's how I feel about the playoffs too. I feel like losing 1 before, the NFL playoffs, not so much MLB or NBA because you have other games.
Mm-hmm.
But the NFL, I think it's a lot harder to go on a win streak, even though Tampa Bay did. And it happens. I just think it's a lot harder.
I agree. I'm just saying in college basketball terms, you really can't afford to lose a game most times.
Okay, so for you, who is the biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise?
Like positive surprise.
There?
That they're here. Like a positive surprise. I think you got to say Oral Roberts.
I got to go
right?
with Oral Roberts here. I mean, you're number 15 seed, but listen, I'm not super surprised. Oral Roberts is a good basketball team. It took them a while to get it together, but they're a good defensive team. They shoot the crap out of the ball from the 3-point line. I think if you go back and watch our last episode, I said their shooting percentage because we were talking about taking the over/under. Right. I said Oral Roberts will light it up from the floor. So Oral Roberts actually going against Arkansas, this is my favorite matchup for them so far.
Yeah, Arkansas. They played Texas Tech. Did not impress me in that Texas Tech game. It was a great game. By the way, great games. There have been so many. That Michigan game was great. Ohio versus Virginia was amazing.
Yes.
That was such a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking down about there were so many really good games. Rutgers Houston was a great game.
Mm-hmm. Oral Roberts was down like 18 points too to Florida, by the way.
I didn't watch that game, but
that was a freaking great game. Great game.
Well, that was Rutgers. They were down by like 9 points with 5 minutes left. I mean, Houston, they were down by 9 points with like 5 minutes left.
Yep.
So, I mean,
if Rutgers had a player on the team that could actually shoot, we might be talking about a different ballgame right now.
By the way, Rutgers still a pretty young team, right?
For the most part, yeah.
A lot of things going right for them. So that's exciting. They made it for the first time.
The football team is like not there yet, but they're with Greg Schiano back there. That school is coming back up. They're coming back up. They're on the rise.
Yeah, Oral Roberts is definitely the surprise of it. I think Loyola Chicago, that win against. I think their win against Illinois. I don't know if it's better than the Oral Roberts win against Ohio State, but I think it's up there because Illinois was. I think majority of people had Illinois in their Final Four.
Yeah. Who is your least upset? So, like, which
mine was Ohio versus Virginia.
Okay, so you think that Ohio would have a chance in that game?
Yeah, I picked Ohio, so that's why I'm saying it. That's the only upset I got right.
Okay, so I got Villanova wrong.
Yeah, I got Villanova wrong too. I picked Winthrop. By the way, Winthrop, I'm trying to get this guy on the show. Burns, guy was a monster.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I picked that wrong. I had Liberty over Oklahoma State. I had a bunch of wrong, really wrong.
The one that was least shocking to me was Syracuse beating West Virginia.
Okay. Yeah.
Syracuse is that type of team. They get hot, they stay hot.
They really get hot during I mean, this isn't the first time that he's been a high seed and made it to the Sweet 16.
So Bobby Huggins, right?
Yeah.
The coach for West Virginia.
Right.
His first college game was against
Jim Boeheim.
Jim Boeheim coaching.
Really?
Like his first game as a player. I was like, that's insane because like Higgins looks a little bit older than Boeheim.
No, I think that's ridiculous. That's not true.
It's very true.
I don't think so. But yeah, no, that's I don't even. I guess because it's two big schools, like two schools that are from big divisions. I mean, it is an upset, but you know, Ohio's from the MAC, which we have a lot of love for the MAC.
We do. Who did Syracuse eliminate first?
San Diego State.
So they've knocked out a 3 and a 2?
A 3 and a 6.
San Diego State was a 6? Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, Ohio, Virginia, I didn't think Virginia was that good. And Ohio Preston is his name. I had them going to the Sweet 16 because I was so high on that kid. All right, and what was the most upset then for you?
I'll tell you, when you look back, Oral Roberts was not the most upsetting game for me with the game against Ohio State.
Yeah.
The game, see, and you look at like Abilene Christian versus Texas, but then you dig into the numbers and you see that Abilene Christian led the nation in forced turnovers. Right. So you look at things like that. But to me, it was the most upsetting because it kind of crushed me because when I saw Andrew Jones nail that three-pointer with 1.4 seconds left on the clock, I was like, my man. Because, like, you know everything with Andrew Jones.
Also, we have to remember, like, the other thing, and this is the same thing with Illinois and Loyola, Chicago, is that these teams are from the same state, and one is a powerhouse in the state, and one is kind of the redheaded stepchild, for layman's terms. But, you know, that's...
I don't even think that Abilene Christian is the redheaded stepchild.
You're right. They're the kid. They're the kid that they let. Like it's that they're at the firehouse.
Yeah.
They are. But it's so that's another exciting element to both of those games. Or those were both one's two Texas teams and one's two Chicago Illinois teams. So that's big. That's awesome.
I agree. Who are you most disappointed in?
Man, I think you have to go here. I think Tennessee has to be up there.
Tennessee is my most disappointing.
I think there's a couple. I don't think that we could just give this award. I think that there's a couple of I think to say Ohio State, and I know that you didn't expect much of them, but a lot of people did. Looking on a broader scale, a lot of people thought that they were going to be really good. I think you got to look at Illinois too, and a lot of people thought that they would skate through. They were in the toughest division. They had the toughest competition all year. They won that division, and they impressed playing really good teams.
Mike Tyson should be the spokesperson for this March Madness because his quote is literally the significance of this whole March Madness where it's everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yep.
That's how this whole thing has gone, man.
I mean, I think Iowa is actually pretty much of an upset. You got the best kid in the nation, and you go on and you lose by 15 points when he puts up 36 or 30-something, whatever he put up. I think that's in there. You know, I think there's a bunch of teams that you could really put on that level with just disappointment. I think Oklahoma State, another team that has the best freshman in the nation, and they go on and they don't just get loose to Oregon State, they get creamed by Oregon State. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
That's funny, but it's like you see in the Ohio State one where it's like a buzzer beater, you know?
Right. Same with Ohio and Virginia. It was close. You know, Illinois. Yeah, Illinois and Loyola Chicago was pretty close too, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So I mean,
it was a fight to the finish.
Exactly. So you're kind of, you know, when you get smacked in the mouth, like you said, that's disappointing. You know, that's disappointing. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's disappointing. And even the LSU Michigan game, which was 8 points, and that seems like a lot of points, it was much closer than that. Yeah. You know, Colorado got smacked in the mouth by Florida State.
We're missing a game, Deirdre.
What game?
We're missing. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, we were at Syracuse and Houston. Did you get that?
I got Syracuse. I got Gonzaga, Creighton, Michigan, FSU, UCLA, Alabama, Baylor, Nova, Loyola, Oregon State, Oral, Arkansas.
You missed Villanova, Baylor.
I have that.
Okay, then what did you? Let me see Sunday's games. Okay. Oregon, USC.
Yep, that's what I'm missing.
That's what we were on talking about. Sorry, we got sidetracked a little bit with disappointing teams.
Ready to make some picks?
I'm ready to make some picks. Let's do it.
Let's do this. Gambler versus the head.
Yeah, the head. I think the head. It's funny. I was taught. I'll tell you. What?
I got some trivia for you.
Okay, let's listen.
How many college kids are enrolled at Ohio State?
A lot.
How many do you think? Roundabout number.
College kids?
Yeah, how many people are enrolled at Ohio State? Students, obviously.
I don't know, James. I'm terrible.
66,000.
It's a state school, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know how many are enrolled at Oral Roberts?
10,000.
3,000. Half the school is on the basketball team.
That's insane.
A full 4% is on the basketball team.
All right, so let's start off with our Oregon State versus Loyola Chicago.
Let's do it. What's the spread?
All right. Loyola Chicago is actually favored by 6.5. And this over-under is 125.5. Loyola is the team with the fewest points allowed per game. They lead the nation. Just for people to...
I'll tell you right now, whatever the over-under is, take the under in this game.
Yep.
It's going to be a defensive battle. Because of that, I'm going to take Oregon State plus 6.5 here.
All right. I will write down your stuff. And you're taking the under, right? It's 125.5.
Ooh, I don't know now.
That's a low number. Loyola's last game was
I'll look into
129, but they played Illinois.
I'll look into it.
Oregon State's last game, 80-70. They've scored at least 70 points in their last 5 games. Gotta pick.
I'll go under.
You're still going under? Okay. I'm going to go over, but I'm also going to go with the Oregon State Beavers.
Beavers.
Every time I say Oregon, I want to say Ducks.
Yeah. It's weird to be saying Oregon State in this.
Yeah, it is. Plus 6.5. I think it's going to be a close game. I might even take Oregon State money line, but I'm going the over. I think that's just too low of a.
I don't like a money line.
I do, but then again, Sister Jean, man, Sister Jean's got it on lock. All right, next up, we got Villanova versus Baylor. Baylor is 6.5-point favorites.
Baylor minus 6.5. Lock it in. Villanova's the frauds, and we know it.
I think Baylor's the best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
Over under 140.5. All right, points. I'm just gonna tell you points per game. Villanova's averaging 75.8. Baylor's averaging 83.8. Points against. Villanova's averaging 62. And Baylor is averaging 59 points against.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Okay.
140.5.
140.5.
Yep, I'm going under.
Okie dokie. I am going. I'm going to go Baylor as well, minus 6.5. Looking at this last game that they faced University of North Texas, it was 84-61. I'm sorry, that's Villanova's 84-61. Baylor was 76-63. They only gave up 63. Wisconsin's not a super scoring team. Villanova does score quite a bit. I'm going to go with the reluctantly, I'm going to go with the over.
All
right. Next up.
Fair enough.
Next up, we got Oral Roberts versus Arkansas. Arkansas is minus 11. James, do we think Oral Roberts, it's hitting midnight for Oral Roberts?
I like Oral Roberts plus 11, and I like Oral Roberts on the money line in this game. Over, under, I'm going over whatever it is.
Famous last words. You do and again, for those new to the show, if you're watching, thank you so much for joining us. But I want to give some context behind James and his lock picks. They're almost always the lock picks get picked. But I don't know, it gets unlocked.
Whatever I say, I'm kind of feeling this.
Yeah.
If I just say to do it, do it. But
again,
if I lock it in, bet the house.
That's just some context. That's just some context on James's lock picks. So we're going Oral Roberts plus 11, and we're doing it's 159.
Too high. I'm going under that.
Under. both teams. Going to give you some stats here. Points per game. Oral Roberts is averaging 81.5. Arkansas is averaging 82. Pretty similar points per game. Points against. Points against 75. Points against for Arkansas. I'm sorry, that's Oral Roberts. Points against for Arkansas is 67. Oral Roberts is currently on a 7-game winning streak. Another thing. And you're going the
Nobody cares about that, dude.
I'm just letting you know. I gotta put the stats out there.
They wouldn't be here if they didn't.
I'm gonna go just because Arkansas plays close. So Arkansas's last 5 games have been, other than Colgate, which is actually a higher seed than Oral Roberts.
Colgate was terrible. First off, that's just because the conferences are misjudged.
But they have played close with everyone besides Colgate. So I will go with the plus 11 on Oral Roberts.
Too many points.
And I will go with the.
That loco.
I'm going with the over.
Remember that show, George Lopez?
I'm going with the over 159 because I think it's going to be a close game.
All right, bet money.
That's a big over, and usually I wouldn't take it.
In the books.
All right, next up, we got Syracuse versus Houston. Houston is 6-point favorites.
Hell no.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Syracuse gets hot,
the
over-under on this is 140. Giving you a little context. Points per game, Syracuse scored 75.9. Points against, Syracuse allows 67 points. University of Houston averages 77.4 points, and points against are 58. University of Houston, to some people, may not have played the best competition, so that 58 might be a little weighted.
Yeah, it's a deflated number. They're not that good defensively, in my opinion, but they are very good offensively, believe it or not. They're very efficient.
I mean, they did give up. Defensively, they played well last game.
Against Rutgers?
Yeah. Rutgers only scored 60.
Have you seen how many points Rutgers scores normally?
That's true. I mean, they haven't allowed – they only allowed 170-point game in their last 5 games. So
that number is going to change. Syracuse will not score less than 70 in this game. I got Syracuse plus the 6 here. I'm taking the over 140, and I might sprinkle a little bit on Syracuse money line. I'm going with the hot hand. I like the coaching here. 2 great coaches, by the way, but I'm going to go with Boeheim. In this situation. I think that I think Syracuse might be that type of Cinderella team that everybody's looking for.
Also, University of Houston, as I said, they're on a 9-game win streak.
It's coming to an end. I don't think Houston's that hot.
Yeah, I have Houston going to the.
And who'd they play this year? Memphis.
They played Memphis. They played Tulane. They played Cincinnati. They absolutely crushed Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But I'm going Syracuse plus 6. I would also go.
I don't know if Houston can handle the offensive weapons of Syracuse.
I don't think so either.
Everywhere, like they're all over the freaking place.
I don't think they've played a very good offensive team all year.
Yeah.
That kid
Bolajai, by the way, for a big dude, he can put the ball in the net. He can move the ball a lot. So
I'm going Syracuse plus 6. You're going with the over 140?
Yeah.
I've been going over my whole time, so I'm going to do over 140.
I got a feeling, Deidre, Syracuse wins 85-63.
I think it's going to be not a close game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, that moves us on to Sunday. We got our 2-10 game. We have Creighton versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga is currently 13.5-point favorites. That's a large spread. The over-under on this is 158. I'm just going to give you background before we pick. Creighton is points per game is 76.3. They are allowing 60 points per game flat. Then we have Gonzaga, which points per game, they are averaging 92.1, and their points their points per game is 92.1. Their points allowed per game is 63. They are shooting at 54.9%.
You're gonna win a lot of basketball games like that, right?
I mean,
30 points above your average.
Yeah, but again, I think that you could use the same. I mean, Gonzaga played a little bit better of competition but Gonzaga.
You see what Gonzaga's done to the first 2 teams in this tournament. Like they're still hitting their numbers. I don't know if I like this at 13.5. That's a lot of freaking points. Here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to take Gonzaga right now at 13.5.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is, because today's Tuesday, right? We'll have this released, tomorrow, Wednesday?
No, tomorrow is Wednesday, so maybe Thursday.
Okay, so we'll have
I'll make sure before the games start, I will make sure that I...
So by the time that Earth comes back to reality, this game is going to end up being Gonzaga minus 17.
Oh, yeah, for
minus
sure.
17.5. So lock it in now at 13.5. Wait for Creighton to get up to 17.5, and then take Creighton at 17.5. Give yourself a little bit of middle ground. I think this goes way over. I think Creighton's going to do a good job scoring the ball. That's what they do. Ziggy does a great job scoring the ball. Everybody on Gonzaga, Timmy and Suggs and what's his name? Kipsnit. He's another one. Drains the three. So I'm going to go the over 158 here. I think this ends somewhere in the 90 to 75.
I'm going to go Gonzaga minus 13.5.
They're just that good. It's like, I don't care what conference they play in.
I don't think that we could say they're – I still think Baylor's the better team. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, that's fine. Creighton is nobody, in my opinion.
I think that they're going to have they're not going to have to play Iowa. They're not going to have to play Kansas. Not that Kansas was good. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Kansas was good.
They got smoked on national television last night.
But I think they have maybe a little bit of an easier way than Arkansas. I think is a little bit tougher than USC or Oregon. Just my opinion. Though you think Oral Roberts is going to win that game, but even so, was it?
I feel like there's almost like a clear path for people to win this championship. Like, there's nobody really going to be getting in the way.
For Gonzaga?
For Gonzaga, Baylor,
I think the toughest way to the final right now is Michigan. Michigan's got the toughest.
Yeah, they have a tough way.
Out of all the 1 seeds that we have left, obviously Illinois is out, but the 3 left, I think obviously Michigan's got the toughest road.
Safe bet in this game, in my opinion, is over 158.
See, I got to go under here because of Creighton does not score a lot. They don't. They scored 72.
Gonzaga do.
Gonzaga does. Yeah, you're right. Gonzaga does.
That's why I'm scared to take that under, because Gonzaga can score 100 by themselves.
Gonzaga scored 87 against, but I'm gonna go.
You're gonna be, dude. You take that under, you're gonna be sweating.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be sweating in the first half with that under. All right. Next up, we have UCLA. Oh no, I'm sorry. Florida State versus Michigan, the 5:00 game. Michigan is minus 3-point favorites. The over/under on this one is 144. Let me give you some stats.
All right.
Points per game. Florida State is averaging 78. Their points against that they're allowing 53.5. Michigan, a lot closer of a margin. They are points per game is 76.8. Points against 72. But again, Florida State was in probably the weakest ACC division that we've seen in a very long time. Michigan was in what we thought was the hardest division. Now might be changing. James, which way are you headed?
All right, so listen, I don't like the number here. I don't like the 3 points at all. Either way, this thing comes down to about 2-point game, maybe even a 1-pointer. I like FSU plus the 3, and I'm going to give you a bit of reasoning behind it, and I'm going to actually give a little bit of credit to you. FSU got their loss out of the way in the ACC tournament to Georgia Tech. They're out of it. They're playing free and ready to go. FSU is big down low. They're a big, tough team. These are some tough sons of bitches on this team.
Also, just a little defensive numbers too, because we got to talk about the defense when we talk about FSU. Obviously, giving up 53.5 points per game is a low number, and they are averaging about 7.3 steals a game.
Transition defense, by the way, for Michigan, weak,
very weak. Honestly, in all these categories, pretty much Florida State leads. Now, again, you could say different divisions. And I get that. But the things that Michigan leads on are field goal percentage, rebounds per game, and assists per game. but all of those margins are not as large as the other margins.
Right. Yeah. I like FSU here. I think FSU actually wins this game outright.
I actually agree with you.
But especially because what the hell else can happen in this tournament? So
yeah.
And they're not that far behind.
And the over-under is 144. Which way you headed with that?
I got the under here. I think FSU's defense prevails. I think they hold Michigan to a slower pace.
Right.
Michigan's not going to want to play in that half court.
But by the way, a team that you said is very good offensively in Colorado, they held them to 53 points. So
hence why I'm changing my mind on FSU, because if you remember, I had FSU going out in the first round.
You did.
So I'm changing my mind on that because they held down Colorado. When I say Colorado can shoot that ball, I'm not playing. They held McKinley to like 7 points last night when he's averaging 16 a game.
Right.
So I'm going FSU here.
I'm also going FSU. Big bodies. I think they're.
Plus, they beat a Pac-12 team. Pac-12 has been the best conference in this tournament.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah. No, for sure.
Well, first off, it's like Pac-12, Big Ten, and then every other conference just randomly in the tournament. There's no like.
Yeah, you got two not ACC, SEC teams, one ACC team left. One I don't even know what Loyola Chicago.
No, we got two Big East.
We don't. No, we have. Oh yeah, we got Villanova, two Big East, two SECs.
Mm-hmm.
No Big 12, right?
2, 3.
Oh yes, Baylor's Big 12. We got one Big 12. Yeah, it's all over.
Loyola Chicago, don't even know where they are. Oral Roberts, I have no idea.
Oral Roberts, I think, not 100%.
From Oklahoma, it might be like the Big South, but I think that's where Winthrop came out of. So I don't think that would make any sense.
No, I think they're basketball. Let me see. I'm checking right now because we should know this. So they are in the Summit League.
Never heard of it. So.
Yeah, Loyola is in Loyola Chicago basketball. Let's see what they're
conferences.
There are a lot. They're in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Gotcha.
That one I've actually heard of. The Summit. I've heard of the Summit, but typically it's like they're in the 15 seed team, and I'm going with the under 144.
Okay. Right. By the way, Deirdre, who did I say all year? Now, I know you're going to bust my balls, and you say, oh, you didn't say that. Who did I say was the best in college basketball at covering the spread all year?
North Texas, I thought.
No. No, I said they were very good against the spread. I gave you three teams, sorry. I gave you Drake.
Drake.
I gave you the military school, the Citadel.
Yep, and Oral Roberts.
And Oral Roberts, the three best teams for me.
No, I believe you. When you say something right, I say that you're right. You just sometimes you contradict yourself, but that's okay. We all do.
That's the problem when you have like this much knowledge.
Oh yeah. All right, next up we got UCLA versus Alabama. Alabama is 6-point favorites. James, I already know how you feel about this game, but I'm going to give some stats. The over/under on this is 145.5. I'm sorry. The points per game. You ready? UCLA is points per game is 73.1. Wow. Their points that they are allowing per game is 63.
I like that.
Alabama is 79.7, and their points against are 66. Not too far apart.
Believe it or not, Alabama's a pretty underrated defense.
Right.
But I'm going to take Alabama minus the 6 here, and I'm going to slam that over. This thing goes high for me.
UCLA in their past 5 games has only allowed over 80 twice, and they have been under the 65 markers 3 times, but those were against teams like BYU and Abilene Christian. Alabama, however, has scored quite a bit of points, but again, they are on a really, really long win streak with 8 wins, and like you said, the Pac-12 has become kind of even the Cinderella story, even more of a Cinderella story than what we thought they were going to be. I was calling for them to not be labeled the Power 5 anymore. So but I'll take that.
You trying to move the MAC in there?
Well, I do love the MAC, but the American, you know me. I love the MAC and the American.
USA even.
Nah. Sorry, Alex Bozzi's going to give it. Alex and Jordan and Milton and Justin. Love you guys, but no.
Yes.
But yeah, I am going UCLA +6. And I am going.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if you're a little taken back by that.
I am going.
Thought you were smarter than that.
I'm going to go over 145.5.
All right. Thank God.
That I am going. All right, James, you're going Alabama, correct?
Over Bama -6, yeah.
All right.
Alabama, Arkansas.
145.5. All right. Next up, the last game of the Sweet 16 belongs to two Pac-12 teams in USC and Oregon. Again, this seems like a Pac-12 championship football game. USC is currently 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 139. James, I already know you're going to hit that over. But I'll give you the stats. Interesting stats with Oregon, and you'll like this. They are points per game is 75.1, but the points that they are allowing is 80. USC is points per game is 75, points against is 53.5. So two completely different teams. Also, Oregon has only played one game. USC has played two, just so people know. Obviously, Oregon's win against Iowa is a big one.
Mm-hmm. So, listen, Oregon's rested. They've had two no contest games.
One.
No, two.
Okay.
Because, they smacked Iowa around. There was really no.
I was like, there's only one.
It was a Charles
but
Barkley.
Now I get the joke. All right.
Said it on TNT, and I was cracking.
All right. So which way are you going? This is going to be a good game.
I'm going to take what's the spread? Sorry.
2.5. It's close.
-2.5 Oregon?
No, -2.5 USC.
Oh, hell no. No, I'm taking Oregon plus the 2.5 here. I think this is a game, though. I think this comes down to coaching, and I'm trusting Dana. What the hell is his name? Dana Altman? No, Dana. Whatever it is. I'm taking Dana over the USC coach. I don't even know who it is, and I really don't care. Oregon plus 2.5 over 139.
I'm actually doing the same exact thing. Oregon really impressed me.
Yeah.
Not the US. Wait, also not the US.
But
USC smacked the crap out of Kansas. They didn't just beat them.
Yeah, so where we've been going all year with this.
Yep.
Quack quack.
Plus 2.5.
Quack,
plus
quack.
2.5, and the over 139. And that leaves us, and that's the end. Sweet 16 is going to be great. Obviously, we recapped some of the awesome games. I'm really hoping that we see some real, and we will, because the average seed is 5.33. Again, if you guys didn't hear earlier in the show, it's 5.33 is the average seed. That's insane.
Couple other fun facts before we go. So this is the most ever double-digit seeded teams to make it to the Sweet 16. And what the hell was the other one? Oh, this is the second time in NCAA tournament history that a number 15 seed has gone to the Sweet 16.
It is
Where's your slipper, Cinderella?
Let's keep it going. All right.
Slipper.
All right. Guys, thanks for listening in. We'll be back with more awesome stuff this week. Check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. James?
Yes, I will be on here tomorrow doing some daytime baseball with you fellas live on the gram. Actually, you said Thursday? So Friday, yeah. So Friday I will be on here doing some live baseball. We'll be yelling.
That's a great idea.
Getting ready for the things. And we'll be doing live stuff all week. So enjoy it. And you guys, you stay safe, you stay well, and you stay hydrated.